So anyway,
Well, speaking of booking, what did you say?
into insensibility and beyond.
Insensibility. In terms of booking insensibility, let's talk about the main event. I believe that was up next.
Well, no. You can't skip over the Bryan Danielson video.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
And Tony, you paid for some more music. Green Day. Do you know what the actual title is? I hope you had the time of your life. Do you know what the actual title of that song is?
Hepatitis.
No.
Oh, I don't know.
Good Riddance.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I do know that.
Yes. And I used that on the video for the Ohio Valley Wrestling Last Dance event at the Louisville Gardens, when we had all the pictures of all of the great memories that had gone on and the old time stars and the back when the kids were kids and the men were men and the sheep were scared and all that type of thing.
This is a great video to point out how much more interesting Bryan Danielson was on the indies than he is right now.
Well, that's the thing, is, it was not really great nostalgia as much as old VHS of indie shows mixed in with some AEW clips. And yeah, it looked like Bryan had more fun going on back then. But here's what I want to just ask you, and then we'll move on to the main event, which ain't going to take long. What the fuck is what I want to ask you. So here's the situation we've got. We have Bryan Danielson, who the fans like and respect probably more than anybody else, almost anybody on this roster. Fair to say?
Maybe. In terms of respect, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
He's one of the more popular guys that they have, especially with the core audience. And so they put him against Swerve, who was their babyface world champion until they kind of made him look like shit. And then people kind of didn't care. So now they've switched him back full-fledged heel, apparently, for the world title. But before they announced this match, the people already know that Bryan Danielson has said that his contract is up and that he's promised his daughter he's going to quit wrestling full-time to spend more time with her. And so he's only at this point going to wrestle intermittently in things he wants to do or places he wants to go. Right?
Right. He himself has announced that, yes.
Right. And then he comes out and says on television, if I don't beat you, Swerve, and win the world title, I'll never wrestle again. Ever. Anywhere, is the inference here. So either they're going to beat Bryan Danielson in his last match, which would be kind of the rule of thumb in wrestling. If you're retiring, you're not coming back. Put the guy over. But then not only is it somewhat of a downer for his apparently last or AEW match or last major stadium match or whatever the fuck, not only is it a bummer that he gets beat, but also that would mean he's decided he's never going to wrestle again anywhere, right? Or elsewise he'd be a bald-faced liar. So if he loses, it has to be his last match. But if he wins, then you put the world title on a guy that has already said he only wants to wrestle intermittently. And one would think that then you would just be doing it for the moment, but you've beaten your world champion that you've already booked pretty badly, and you've eliminated the opportunity for another of your full-time talents, such as Will Ospreay or MJF, to win the fucking world title and continue its lineage. How do you do this, and who fucking comes out ahead here?
I mean, I think they booked themselves to the point where if Danielson doesn't win, you have a problem, because either that means he's going away right then and there and he's never coming back, or he's going to come back under a mask, which I don't think they'll do. So then he's
the Midnight Rider.
So then he's beating Swerve, and the fans, you would think the AEW fans get a happy short title run with an expiration date, unless you're going to make him a part-time world champion who's never around, who doesn't do any TVs ever again, which may be the best thing for AEW, to have a strong world champion who's never on these shows. I don't know, but we'll see what they do. He hasn't said he's going to fully retire. He said he's going to just wrestle every now and then, but he's going to be retired from full-time, from attending wrestling shows once a week.
Yeah.
I think they kind of have to put the belt on him, don't you? They need some kind of happy moment to end that show.
Well, but I thought that was going to be Ospreay beating MJF, because how they've known they were going to do Wembley for a fucking year. And so how have you not manipulated it some way to where that Will Ospreay will win the match in his fucking home country in the big stadium show, whatever the match might be? But then you're cutting MJF off when he's just getting started with this whole American title thing. So I don't know what they're fucking doing.
Unless Ospreay doesn't win. And again, remember, they have a pay-per-view, 2 weeks later to set up in Chicago?
Well, then maybe Ospreay wins over there, and then MJF fucking beats him back on good old American soil.
And again, there's Fletcher and Callis. You got to think they're going to be involved, and there's a way to make it so that MJF doesn't lose the title right away, gets a longer run with it, and Ospreay has something else to do.
God damn it. Again, they knew they were going to do this for a year. So anyway,
you say they, it's Tony. It's well, he, him.
The royal they.